Good afternoon, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Welcome to another test ride. This time on this beauty, BMW R1200 RS. Sit back and enjoy. Whoa, no, that's not going to work. I was trying out a new thing there, extended hand cam. A little bit of a copy of Lamb Chop's efforts, but there you go. That's not going to work. So anyway, quick little repositioning of hand cam to wing mirror cam there. We're back on the road. First impressions, I've got to say, this bad boy is torquey. To be honest, my original plan was to go and try out the R1200R, but they didn't have any available. So they said I could have a little blast on this bad boy instead, just to give it a bit of a comparison. So this is the BMW R1200 RS, which is the sports tourer version of the R1200. As you can see by these monstrous bulges out the side of the bike here, one on either side, it's got a 1200cc boxer twin. I've already cracked my shins on it twice getting on and off the bike, so that's something to think about. Because look, they really do hang out there. That is insane. It does also mean if you were to drop the bike, obviously you'd screw the shizzle out of these bad boys, but they would stop the bike from crushing your legs. You know, every cloud. While I'm stood still, I can show you that this screen is adjustable simply by shoving it. It's not the most delicate of systems, but there is, I suppose, infinite adjustment between that and that. Come on, I haven't got long left. Now the seating position is very different to what I'm used to. It's very hunched up, very sporty. It's got these clip-on style handlebars which are a lot lower and a lot more of a kind of downward V shape than I'm used to. Well, it is so punchy though. The overriding shame of this test ride, however, is the bike is brand spanking new. Well, it's got 57 kilometers on it now. It had 37 when I picked it up. And they've stuck this sticker here, which says, new motorbike tyres. For the first 200 kilometers, be particularly careful. So this is a test ride that I can't really fully test it because I'm going to be scared of tanking it over. I'm going to be scared of giving it the beans because it's got brand spanking new tyres on it. Oh well. It is currently 8 degrees, although thankfully the sun has just popped out. All right, bud, haven't seen you for a little while. But thankfully, this beauty's got heated grips. I don't think they come as standard. I think they cost about £40,000 as an extra. They are available, they are possible. The very first thing that I don't really understand is this knobbing on the end of the left grip here. What is that for? You can click it, you can push it sideways, you can spin it, but it doesn't appear to do anything. Maybe it's some kind of boredom alleviator. It's like a motorbiker's chew toy, just something to fiddle with while you're on the ride, because your nuts are obviously under there so you can't touch them. Now this is of course a shaft drive, so there is absolutely zero slack between this little round black thing and that big round black thing at the back, which does mean, however, when you just think about touching the throttle, you get a solid punch in the middle of the back. It's very, 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 very direct. Did I mention that it's very direct? Yeah, it's very direct. A slow speed handling it is it's a lot more difficult than my bike. It's a lot more difficult than all the others that I've tested. I think mainly because they all have more of a sit up and beg kind of position, and here I'm balanced forwards a little bit. So for me at least, balancing it while it's not moving very quick is a little bit more unnatural. I'm sure it's something I could get used to. Lovely bit of a burble and pop there on deceleration, in case you didn't know. I'm a very big fan of that. Now I keep trying to do clutchless shifts, but this has got a DCT double clutch transmission system in it, which again doesn't come as standard. You're going to have to spend a few bob to get that, but you don't need to use the clutch at all. Without touching the clutch I can shift down and runs along nice and smooth. I'll just pop it down again. There we go, up, fourth, fifth. Effortless. I'm not sure it's something that I could justify spending the extra 1,500 euros or whatever it is to get it. Still quite cool, isn't it? Wow, that was an effortless overtake. Just over 100 kilometers an hour. The wind noise is quite shocking, but I think that might be because if I was here, yeah, I think this is perhaps another case of just me being in the wrong place. I'm too tall for a sporty bike. See, if they just had an extra couple of inches, I put my hand there, quiet. Now it's roaring, now it's quiet. I think a lot of the blame is always with me, isn't it? So, bells and whistles, what have we got? I mean, it's hard to give you a really fair idea because I think this bike has pretty much been maxed out with everything you can possibly have, which means it's gone from the standard price of about 13,000 euros to nearly 17. It's insane how quickly the price just rockets up. But anyway, we've got ABS, which you can turn on and off. We've got adjustable suspension. We've got the trip counter, obviously, there's 2 trips in there. It's got an info button, which I know you'll be surprised to hear this, shows you the info. Temperature gauge, engine temperature, range, litres per 100 kilometres, average speed, something about pressure, I'm guessing that might be tyres, and the date. And that's it. On the other side, heated grips, 3 steps if you include off. The mode button here goes through road, dynamic, user, which I'm guessing you can customise to yourself, and rain. And that's it. And then the stop start button, and that's about your lot. There's this GPS holder jib job that obviously is completely useless to me today because I'm not GPSing it, which means I probably will be getting lost very soon. I am really quite warm, which I guess says a lot for the protection level here. I'm getting a lot of wind in the face obviously, but we've discussed that at great length. But the rest of me is very warm indeed. And it is very rapid off the mark. Very lightly bounced off the rev limiter there. Sorry BMW, my bad. There's a lot of traffic about today. I do not like it. How very dare they? This is a middle of the day on a Tuesday. Where is this traffic coming from? Honestly, people. Sling it, go on. Get home. So talky. Just left it in 3rd gear. Pulls out. No juddering, no jumping. I'm impressed with that stuff. Effortless overtakes, and really smooth as well. Just over 100 kilometers an hour. I'm getting nothing through the bars, although with the amount of scaffolding that's going on here, I'm not really surprised. There is a bit of a rumble through the seat, nothing really to write home about. So we're happily cruising along at the countryside speed limit, doing 3,500 revs with loads of juice in the tank. I really like the gearing of this bike. I mean, I don't need to go to 6th gear. This is absolutely perfect. I do go to 6th gear. It's like the engine's just gone to sleep. That's delightful. As you might be able to see at this moment in time, with the sun about 11 o'clock, I can't see a bloody thing on the dash. All I'm getting is the reflection off of these really bright silver handlebars. That's not ideal. Now, the mirrors are really solid. They're giving me a really clear view of what's behind. And to be honest, I'm not having to do too much elbow waggling either. And they don't look too bad either. They're quite sleek, quite simple. Now all of these buttons and switches and knobs and the knob gags that go along with them are all really nice quality. They feel solid. They're kind of a matte hard plastic. And what I did find really cool is that the indicator is on the left. I don't know how long this has been the case, but BMW don't do the left-right thing anymore. On the Harley test ride, that was messing me up all the time. I kept on looking for the right indicator on the left side, and it's not there. It's on the right side. But yeah, BMW don't do that anymore. They've gone fully indicators on the left, which I applaud. That's a good move. It has got absolutely no problem with low rev cruising. Doing 2.5 now. If I give it a squirt, that's absolutely amazing. Right, where are we going to go? Wherever we're going to go, we're going to go really slowly because I'm scared of these new tyres. Oh, it's lovely out of the corners. Very little effort and surprisingly smooth for a twin. I've never ever ridden a Boxer twin before, so obviously this is all completely new to me, but it's really very smooth. It does feel a lot more kind of twitchy than my Phaser does. I mean, it's not unstable by any stretch of the imagination. It just feels a little bit more kind of that you can chuck it around a bit. I mean, it is very... You have to use a bit of counter steer though. Schlots on the road, schlots on the road. That's not what you want when you're nursing a pair of shiny slippery tyres around the road, is it? Somebody crashed a muck spreader in the middle of the road here. Right, I'm going to sneak to the front here. I won't have you little silver knob ends ruining my test ride. Lovely light and smooth clutch. Feels strong, but it's not an effort to squeeze it, and it's not at all difficult to find the biting point either. It's not too snatchy. Filtering, 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 I like. Filtering, filtering on someone else's bike. There you go, Captain. That one's for you. So anyway, I haven't actually mentioned yet that this bike has, I'm assuming, because these are the numbers for the R1200R, and this is the RS, but I was told that the engine and everything is exactly the same frame, same engine, same forks. The only thing that's different is the handlebars, the seat position, the pegs are slightly different. But anyway, the bike has 125 horsepower, and at the same time it has about 125 newton meters of torque, which comes in at around about 6,500 RPM. I mean, bear in mind this is a twin, so it only revs to 10,000. 9,000 is the red line, 10,000 is the boom line, and to be honest, it feels, I mean, this is just me and my bum dyno, it feels pretty flat. I mean, the power is there from the minute you give it the beans. It's got go, and it pulls hard. God, these heated grips are proper hot. Now, despite what I've said, it's not impossible to balance. It is a lot harder to keep it steady and upright, being also hunched forwards and the handlebars are narrower and lower down, but it's not impossible. I have tried to indicate with this weird gummy ring thing so many times. You have to reach properly past it to get the indicator knob. The weather really turned out nice in the end, didn't it? So after hearing this and how quick it is, it really does seem like the Baron must have the DCT system on his GS because of how quickly he pops it through the gears off the traffic light. See? That's ridiculous. I have no idea where I'm going. This looks dangerously like a dead end, so looks like we get a U-turn test. Oh, that was not smooth. Is that about the clutch not being snatchy? That was more me. Not so easy to U-turn, folks. Just feels like it has a massive power band. That's what she said. Right, now the sun is behind me and what's going on around me is incredibly boring. We'll talk about the clocks. It's got an analog speedo with a needle and a dial, and digital tacho, which looks, to be honest, I think really quite budget. Everything is relatively well laid out, although it is quite cramped. There's a very small little letterbox kind of layout. I suppose you can clearly see that everything is there. It even tells you when your heated grips are on or off, lights, gear, the mode that you're in. There's a picture of a helmet. I'm not sure why that is. I don't think there's a sensor telling it that I've got a helmet on. Who knows? The technology these days, there's no telling what they might be able to do. It does just kind of look like it's a fridge thermometer or something that's just been stuck on the front there. It doesn't really sit in this area as far as I'm concerned. It's just kind of plonked on top. Right, let's pull into this little patch of wasteland and have a look at her, shall we? So there she is. She's a good looking beast. The exhaust is perhaps a little bit too shiny for my liking, but that engine is crazy. Just how much those cylinders stick out. Tubular frame, but using the engine as a stressed piece, as you can see. It's bolted on here, here, and then underneath there. And everything else is just hanging off the frame, or rather the frame is hanging off the engine, whichever way you want to look at it. One ginormous single shock Michelin Pilot Road 4 tyres. It's the front of the engine there, with the radiator over the top of it. Steering damper hidden behind these massive upside down forks with these incredibly sharp radial mounted Brembos. LED indicators, a lot of chrome going on for the pipes there, and they've gone for the same sort of semi-lopsided, squinty-eyed look as the S1000 has. Not quite as extreme though, but it still looks really aggressive, really mean. I do like that single LED driving light. These weird little side pieces. I wonder if they actually do anything or if they're purely for the transformer look. Seat seems comfy so far. My arse still works. Now, as with all the other tests, it really should see. There's a power socket there under the seat. But anyway, yeah, how do we get into the seat? See if there's any space at all to write home about. There it is. So I've put in the semi-obsolete key because it has the keyless start system. And that one pops off. There's a little bit of space under there. Absolutely no space whatsoever under the front seat. Maybe you could get a couple of fag packets and a sausage roll in there. I think you might struggle to get some waterproofs under it. You win some, you lose some, eh? Put that right way around, shall we? So as you can see, I forgot to mention the obvious, it has a centre stand. It also has this monstrous parallelogram shaft drive system, which I think looks bloody awesome. I would absolutely love to have a bike with this setup. I really would. Sadly, I'm just going to have to keep writing to Santa. Now, as I already said, it's got the keyless system, so the key is here, and all you do is push this button in the middle here, and then hit the start button. And she starts up. It's got a nice throbby tone to it. Obviously that would be the first thing, as is always the case, to get chucked to the back of the garage and replaced for something a bit more throaty, but on its own as standard, it's not too bad. Has a real bark to it. It's running a bit rich as well by the smell of it. But anyway, get back on the road and sadly go and give it back. Right, just don't stack it on this sandy stuff now. That would be disastrous. Just cracked my shin on that bad boy again. Buy a BMW, buy shin pads at the same time. I think that is really strange is when you give it a blip, the whole bike lurches very slightly to the left. It does kind of a weird sort of shimmy. Right, no test ride is complete without a blast on the motorway, so that's how we'll be getting home, folks. See that move to the left? That's not me moving the bike, that's it going with the rev. That's a really weird feeling. Whoa! So that clutchless shift isn't infallible, that was awful. Right, see how it deals with dropping the hammer on the motorway. Well, that's at 160 kilometers, 100 miles per hour, and yes, very composed. Wing mirrors are buzzing a little bit, but nothing that really affects the optics too much. Yeah, you could cover some serious miles on this bad boy. Although, that being said, I have to say I've got a bit of a backache. This position, it's not for me. I'm just a bit too hunched over, my knees are too high, my hands are too low. I'm just too crouched, and it's not my cup of tea. If I go proper crouched, the screen's a lot quieter. That's actually bearable, and I'm not even wearing earplugs right now. So there we have it, BMW R1200 RS. In summary, really nice bike, really solid quality. The engine is fantastic. It's got torque all over the place. It's never overly buzzy, and from either end of the gears it had something to give. Did manage to bounce off the rev limiter once. It kind of caught me by surprise that we were at the rev limiter, but that's just testament to how much grunt it's got, I suppose. Handlebars are a bit weird. They've got this weird kind of scaffolding affair going on, so that they can have the same top clamp as the R1200R, but also have these clip-on handlebars. Not sure I like how it looks, but then I've never really been a big fan of the clip-on style bars anyway. Screen is, well, it's not the worst that I've used, to be fair. That adjustment system is quite hilariously brutal. Handling-wise, a bit of a shame not to be able to properly test it out, to be fair. It's all due to the fear of stacking it because of brand new tyres. It's a bit of a shame, but what can you do about it? Keyless ignition is very good. It just works. And I have to say, I haven't at any point found myself wanting of anything from the suspension. I mean, there's all sorts of adjustments and things that you can do on the fly, which I haven't even looked at, because as standard, it just seemed to kind of feel like it was doing a great job to me. Again, I didn't really get to push the bike very hard. Yeah, what can I do? Sorry about that, folks. I was cheated as much as you were cheated. Let's just say that. The clutchless shift system, it's nice. It works really well. But to be fair, it's not something I would spend upwards of $1,000 on, especially as with it you get the added complications of having all that technology. More shit can go wrong. You've got the added weight, which means you're going to be using more fuel. Your bike's going to be a bit slower. And to be honest, I just like shifting myself, so I'd probably go without. I feel like I've kind of glossed over the brakes as well, but they are really solid. What more do you expect from a set of radial mounted Brembos? And also, the brakes are integrated, so when you pull on the front brake lever, it brakes with the back as well. But altogether, beautiful bike, absolutely beautiful bike. It's been a pleasure to ride. I'm just really quite sad that I didn't get to really thrape it in those twisties. Look at that. When you've got the key in your pocket, the fuel tank just opens. That's quite cool. Well, yep, the stepping out of the petrol station test is a pass. Very proud to be striding onto this beauty. Must admit, it is quite nice to remove one element of faff with the whole key nonsense. So just for the geeks of you out there, fuel economy numbers for this little trip is telling me 6.3 litres per 100 kilometres, which is exactly this much in miles per gallon. Getting eyeballed by the 5-0. Should get him to wind the window down. Shout out it's not mine, and blare off into the distance. I've just realised, come to the wrong frigging garage. I was at the Honda garage earlier on to try and get a test ride on an Africa Twin. They didn't bloody have any. They said they've got more customers than they've got product at the moment. It's nice for Honda, but crap for me and crap for you. Can't believe I've done that. I'm on a BMW. Look, it says BMW on the fuel tank. What a plonker. Well, on that disastrous realisation, I shall bid you adieu. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this test ride, and I hope you'll join me again for another test ride soon. Take care, ride safe. Yeah, definitely getting better at that filtration nonsense.